Despite looking like a typical 90s adventure series, Ip Man takes an unexpectedly meditative approach and quickly becomes something much more strange and ethereal. The series follows Bolt Crank, a brilliantly named hired gun with a strange habit of eating mechanical objects, usually weapons, which he can later summon back up when the need arises. Each episode sees Bolt taking odd jobs as a mercenary or bodyguard, but focuses more on his quiet observation of those around him than any serious action. In fact, the series' main interest seems to be in the relationship Bolt has with the women he meets during his travels, which, despite him having a name straight out of Debbie Does Neo Tokyo, is actually rather complicated. Bolt is handy in a fight and remains loyal to his employer, but there's a limit to how much he's willing to involve himself or even do what other people expect of him. The obvious comparison here is to Kino, another mysterious traveller with an ambiguous personal agenda, but without Kino's obsessive desire for neutrality, I found Bolt a much more straightforward character and certainly one I could relate to far more easily. Pleasingly, the female characters Bolt gravitates towards are all remarkably well handled, especially given that none appear for more than one episode. All seem to face some sort of personal crisis, but they're tough, clever, and often as morally ambiguous as Bolt himself. Their stories are pretty diverse, but I thought the most memorable were probably that of the mysterious hotelier hiding a priceless artwork in the middle of the desert, and the proud soldier decorated for bravery in a war that has lost all meaning. Unfortunately, anyone looking for a clear narrative will likely be disappointed. The series is heavy on symbolism and often leaves its plot threads dangling. In fact, the only clear link between episodes is the bizarre sight of a wrecked ship floating in the sky, something that seems to haunt Bolt wherever he goes. Visually, the series is very much of its time. It is a little derivative, with Bolt looking much like the awkward love child of Vash the Stampede and Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo, but the art is well executed, and fans of Outlaw Star or Trigun will likely be right at home with the futuristic frontier aesthetic. It was, however, produced on a very low budget, and it often shows. At times there is so little animation going on that you may be reminded of Gainax's Darkest Hours. But to his credit, Ip Man does its damnedest to make a fist of a lousily dealt hand. Directed by Koichi Mashimo, a man of many interesting projects, but probably best known for his work on the Dot Hack franchise, the series makes extensive use of slow, sweeping shots and lengthy close-ups, playing to its weird atmosphere and often creating a real sense of unease or claustrophobia.
The show doesn't always get away with it, but other directors have certainly achieved much less with far greater resources at their disposal.
I did find the series becoming a bit oppressive as it went on though. After a lively first half, it becomes increasingly weighty later on, and finally disappearing a little too far into abstraction and self-indulgence for its own good. It also fails to make much of Bolt's strange diet. It's an amusing party trick, but it has curiously little bearing on the series, especially given that that's where we get the name from. Presumably this is down to it playing fast and loose with the source material. While I've not read the original manga, this adaptation apparently bears very little resemblance to it out with the main character, and this didn't go down too well with fans. A second series appeared the following year, which sticks far closer to the original story, but by all accounts it's a much more conventional science fantasy affair. In this incarnation, Ip Man won't be for everyone. You'll either find Bolt's drifting life weirdly compelling, or you'll be bored stiff. Despite its flaws though, I thought its dreamlike narrative and powerful imagery really make the show stand apart from the crowd. Kino's journey is arguably more successful with this kind of story, and I would recommend watching Kino first. But if you like that, by all means get this. Now if only a company whose name rhymes with Tisco Deck would re-release it, we'd be laughing.